Hello and welcome back to the channel. I don't know, but it seems like this particular Thanksgiving Day season has been just riddled with all types of wickedness. I have another story that I'm going to be sharing with you. It's just awful. Just awful. In this story, there was a man shot dead while eating Thanksgiving dinner with his family. In other words, he wasn't a part of anything. He was inside eating dinner. And this tragedy happened to this man as he sat there with his family. Anyway, I'm going to get into this story as well. Those of you who follow this channel, you know that I talk about perilous times. The scripture prophesied that in the last days perilous times would come, and they are certainly here. We are looking at them on a daily basis, things as they unfold. It just seems to be no end of these types of incidents. And it's very important that people know how to discern the times that we are in. These are not just killings. People have been killed for thousands of years, right? So these are not just killings. These are an escalation in certain types of crimes, certain petty crimes, certain things that you feel like, especially around what they call their Thanksgiving Day holiday, you would think that some of these spirits would calm down. But someone pointed out something very, very interesting. All of these tragedies around Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was a day that was built on violence. And that's something people don't want to talk about. So even though some people try to pass it off as a day to be thankful and grateful and happy and go lucky and all of this, it was a day that really marked massive violence, one group against another. You see, that's why many Native Americans refer to it as the National Day of Mourning. Not as Thanksgiving. They're like, you're not going to make me thank God for you killing my ancestors, right? So anyway, let's get into this story. It was a Pennsylvania man who was eating his Thanksgiving dinner with his family. He was killed after he was hit by a stray bullet fired from the street that had pierced a window. Okay, I'm not going to try to pronounce this man's name, but anyway, he's 25. He had been celebrating the holiday at home in Norristown, Greater Pennsylvania, when the Thanksgiving tragedy occurred. Montgomery County prosecutor said this in a statement. It says police arrived at the property to find this young man unresponsive with a gunshot wound to his torso. He was flown to Pennsylvania Presbyterian Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Police are still hunting for the suspect, who they believe to be Kevin Clark, 19. Norristown resident William Holmes told CBS3 Philly that after the shooting, family members made a desperate plea to paramedics who arrived at the property in Ark Street. So this is the suspect right here. His name is Kevin Clark. He's 19. They're searching for him. When you look into those dead eyes, this is obviously a mugshot from something before, because they're still searching for him. So he's no stranger to the law, in other words, for them to have this image as a suspect in this incident. Anyway, this is yet another one of those very tragic incidents that happened on Thanksgiving Day. It seems to be a very, very sharp increase in Thanksgiving Day incidents. I'm telling y'all, it is time to pay attention, especially in the current environment we're having. A lot of people are experiencing hardships, whether it's financial, whether it's not knowing where they're going to be from one day to the next. And so when you have hardships, what usually happens is the cares of this life begin to weigh so heavily on people to where it brings out certain spirits in them. Some people get depressed. Some people get violent. Some get angry. There are various emotions that are toyed around with when you have an environment of struggle. you see. And so who knows what the incident was about, where the man, the young man who they are suspecting did the shooting. Who knows what brought him to the point that he was? Who was he arguing with? What was the altercation about? No one knows. All we know is that there are some evil people out here who do not mind taking other people's lives or putting other people's lives in jeopardy. And guess what, y'all? For all y'all unfair people out here, for all y'all unfair people, any person of any race can have these type of wicked spirits on them. I find it, and I mention this stuff a lot on this channel because I feel like over the years, many of you have been following this channel for over the years, and you see how I talk about incidents within the black community, incidents outside of the black community, racial incidents. I talk about a number of different things, but yet and still you have those who want to try to pretend like one group is better than the other. You see, everyone or every group has their own principalities dealing with them. You have those who have just a low down nature, period, just a wicked nature, and it doesn't matter what color they are. You have some people who are just clearly racist. You see, you have some people who are just unfair, period, and it has nothing to do with race. You see, but I talk about these things, racial incidents and racial analogies, because there is this pretense that only black people are bad. Only black people. There is this pretense there, as if this world isn't riddled with the history of violence and savagery from others as well. You see, I'm done with this story, y'all. I know some of you say you always get on your soapbox about racial things. Well, hey, guess what? Guess what? We are living it every day in this country. We are seeing it every day in this country. It's hard not to look at it. As a matter of fact, it is so engrafted in biblical prophecy. This is why I talk about it so much, because there are those of you who have no idea that all of this stuff was spoken of very, very specifically in scripture. The problem is you're looking for something to say black people, white people. That's not how they talked back then. That's not how things were determined back then. It wasn't a black thing, a white thing, a Chinese thing. It wasn't like that. It was a tribal thing. Every group was known by their tribe. That's how it was, you see. But all of this white and black, it frustrates people, because you feel like someone is targeting you constantly, when if you just simply talked about, the same thing can be achieved if you talked about specific incidents. You'll be like, well, that sounds like, a lot of people say that sounds like a black man's crime right there, or that sounds like a white man's crime right there. If we talked about it like that, we would still reach the same analysis. You see, if someone robs a bank and gets away with a very strategic 2-minute bank robbery where they get away with $10 million, that don't sound like a black crime to me. It sounds like a very organized white crime. But if somebody goes into a gas station and robs somebody for a pack of Cheetos, I'm sorry, that sounds like a black crime to me. And I don't mean to make light of it. I'm just trying to make a point that you have those who want to pretend like, while they're pointing at all of the crimes and the sins of one group, they want to pretend like their group don't also have it. In many cases, sometimes to a greater magnitude, you see. Anyway, I'm done with the story. In the comment section below, remember to keep it tight and keep it right. But until next time. We hope you liked today's topic. Please leave your comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share it, like this video, and with that, we're out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.